Sometimes life feels like it's stuck in the same chapter, same struggles, same unanswered prayers, same pain that refuses to fade. You look around and wonder, when will my moment come? You try, you cry, you keep walking through the darkness, hoping it will lead somewhere. And yet, silence, but here's the truth that changes everything. It doesn't take a lifetime for your story to change, it only takes a single night. One night, everything can turn. One prayer, one moment of surrender, one tear falling in quiet faith can open doors you never imagined. The same way the night hides the stars until the sky is dark enough to reveal them, sometimes your life has to dim before it can truly shine. When you place your trust fully in the one who writes every story, you're not waiting in vain, you're being prepared. Because unseen hands are arranging miracles while you sleep. Paths are being cleared that you can't see yet. Hearts are being softened, doors are being unlocked, and blessings are being timed to meet you at the perfect moment. So, don't mistake silence for absence. Don't think that the delay means denial. It's just a sign that something better is taking shape quietly, precisely, beautifully. Keep your heart steady, keep your trust unshaken. Keep whispering those late night prayers even when it feels like no one hears. Because one night, when you least expect it, everything will change. The tears will make sense. The waiting will feel worth it. And you'll look back realizing it didn't take years. It took one moment of divine mercy, one night of unseen power, and one heart that refused to give up. So keep trusting. Your life can transform in a single night. Just don't stop believing before it does. We often convince ourselves that change takes years, that healing, progress, and new beginnings come only after long struggles and endless waiting. But sometimes the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Change doesn't need time, it needs faith. Faith is that quiet, unseen energy that moves mountains when logic says they can't be moved. It's not bound by hours, days, or calendars. It's something that lives deep inside the heart, a force that can rewrite your entire life story in a single night. There are moments when everything around you feels still. You pray, you hope, you work hard, and yet the results never seem to appear. It's easy to think, maybe it's just not my time. But what if the timing isn't the problem? What if what's missing is belief, the deep, unshakable faith that things can turn around in an instant? Faith changes the energy of your soul. It transforms fear into calm, despair into hope, and waiting into preparation. When you truly trust the process, you stop counting the days and start focusing on the purpose. You no longer look at what hasn't happened yet. You start preparing your heart for what's about to happen. Many people spend years chasing change through effort alone, through logic, plans, and control. They want to see before they believe, but real transformation works the other way around. You believe first, and then you see. Faith is the spark that activates divine timing. It invites possibilities you can't create on your own. Think about it. How many times in your life did something shift overnight? A phone call, an opportunity, a person entering your life, or a realization that suddenly made everything clear. You didn't plan those moments, they just happened. But deep inside, something had been preparing you for them all along. That preparation was your faith, your belief that somehow, in some way, life would change. Faith doesn't remove your effort, it gives it direction. It turns your actions into prayers, your patience into strength, and your waiting into worship. It's what keeps you steady when everything else feels uncertain. You can't measure faith, but you can feel it in your peace, in your patience, and in your refusal to give up when things don't go your way. Sometimes we think time heals us, but time alone doesn't. If your heart stays bitter, hopeless, and disconnected, even years can pass without healing. But when you add faith to the equation, one sincere prayer can do what time never could. Faith opens your heart to the possibility of renewal. It teaches you that your story isn't defined by how long you've been struggling, but by how deeply you trust the one who can change it all. Faith also changes your perception. It doesn't always remove the storm, but it teaches you to see purpose within it. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That small shift in mindset turns pain into power. You begin to see that every challenge is a step towards something greater. And then one day, everything aligns, not because the clock struck a certain hour, but because your heart reached a certain level of belief. Suddenly, what seemed impossible starts unfolding naturally. The opportunities appear, the peace returns, and the weight you carried for so long starts to lift. That's not coincidence. That's faith finally bearing fruit. Faith doesn't rush the process. It simply removes the fear that delays it. When you trust completely, you stop worrying about how and when things will happen. You start living from a place of surrender, not giving up, but giving over. You let go of control, not because you don't care, but because you know that the one in control cares more than you ever could. So when you feel like you've been waiting too long, when change feels distant and unreachable, remember this: time isn't the healer, faith is. One act of sincere trust can open a door that years of effort could not. Change doesn't need time. It needs a heart that refuses to stop believing. It needs a soul that says, even if I can't see the way, I know the way exists. Because the moment your faith becomes stronger than your fear, that's the moment your life begins to transform. There comes a point in everyone's life when the silence feels unbearable. You pray every night, hoping for a sign, a message, a shift, anything that shows your voice has been heard. But the world stays quiet. The doors remain closed, and your heart begins to whisper, maybe no one is listening. That's where doubt creeps in, not loud and sudden, but slow and quiet. It makes you question everything, your worth, your prayers, even your purpose. You start to wonder if your cries are just disappearing into the void. But here's the truth that softens that ache. Silence is not absence. Silence is not rejection. It's not punishment. It's not neglect. Silence is often the sacred space where preparation happens. When you can't see movement, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening, just not in your sight. The unseen world is constantly in motion. Paths are being drawn, hearts are being guided, circumstances are being aligned, but because you can't hear the sound of that work, you assume it isn't real. Think of a seed buried in the soil. It's silent under the ground. No one sees its struggle as it breaks apart, as it pushes toward the light. To the outside world, it looks like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, life is forming. The silence of the soil is not emptiness, it's transformation in progress. That's exactly how divine timing works. When your life feels still, you're in that sacred soil. You're being prepared for something you can't yet see. Your roots are being strengthened before you rise. The silence around you is not a void, it's a shield, a protection, a process. Sometimes, if answers came too quickly, you wouldn't be ready for them. You might misuse the blessing or misunderstand its purpose. So the silence teaches you patience. It purifies your intentions. It stretches your heart so that when the answer does arrive, you can hold it with gratitude instead of pride. It's easy to confuse silence with distance, especially when you're hurting. But silence often means you're being trusted with stillness. It's an invitation to stop searching outside for validation and start listening within. Because in the quiet, you discover something profound, your own strength. You realize that faith doesn't only exist when prayers are answered. It exists most powerfully when they aren't. Silence is where faith matures. It's where you learn to love the giver more than the gifts. It's where you begin to find peace not in outcomes but in connection. And once your heart reaches that place, you stop fearing the quiet. You start to see it as a conversation, one where your soul speaks through patience and your creator responds through timing. When you look back, you'll realize that silence was never empty. It was filled with invisible movement. It was a pause before the breakthrough, a breath before the miracle. Every unanswered prayer was being rewritten into a better version of itself. Every delay was saving you from something you didn't even know could harm you. There's beauty in being kept waiting, because in waiting you grow. You learn to depend, to hope, to trust without evidence. And that kind of faith can't be taught through blessings, it's taught through silence. So if you're in a quiet season right now, don't assume you've been forgotten. You're not being ignored, you're being prepared. The silence is shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of the blessings ahead. The moment will come when everything makes sense, when the why turns into thank you, when the silence breaks not with noise but with peace. And when it does, you'll understand that it was never absence, it was presence working quietly, perfectly in its own time. Until then, keep trusting in the stillness, keep praying even when you hear nothing back. Because silence isn't the end of the conversation, it's the space where your faith learns how to truly speak. We live in a world that glorifies speed. We want things instantly, instant success, instant healing, instant answers. Waiting feels like weakness and delays feel like punishment. When something doesn't happen on our timeline, the first thought that hits the heart is, why me? What's taking so long? But the truth is, every delay has a divine purpose. Every pause, every not yet, every waiting season, it's not a mistake. It's part of a design that's wiser than our understanding. Sometimes what you call delay is actually protection. You may be asking for something that looks good right now, but you don't see the full picture. You don't see how it could break you if it came too early. The delay is a gentle hand holding you back from a storm you can't yet see. You may be ready emotionally, but not spiritually. You may want the blessing, but you're not yet strong enough to carry it. There's a beautiful saying, when something is meant for you, it will reach you, but not before you are ready to hold it without it breaking you. And that's what divine timing does. It prepares you. It molds you quietly while you're waiting. It turns the waiting room into a classroom. You learn patience, humility, and surrender. You stop chasing what isn't yours and start growing into the version of yourself who can handle what's coming. Think of it like building a house. You can't rush the foundation just because you're excited to decorate the rooms. If the base isn't strong, the walls will eventually fall. The same is true with life. If the foundation of your faith, patience, and character isn't ready, any blessing that arrives too soon won't last. Sometimes the delay is not about you at all, it's about someone else's readiness. Maybe the people who will play a role in your story are still being shaped. Maybe your future opportunity, relationship, or breakthrough is still under construction. You can't rush something that's still being built in the unseen world. There's also a deeper beauty in delay. It refines your desires. What you wanted so badly at first might not even matter to you after a while. The waiting filters your heart. It removes greed, pride, and impatience. By the time your prayer is answered, it's no longer about proving something or filling a void. It's about gratitude. You don't just want the blessing, you appreciate it. And when it finally comes, it feels different. You no longer see it as a reward for waiting, but as a reminder that timing is sacred. You realize that if it had arrived sooner, it might have destroyed you, but now it completes you. Delays also reveal who you become when nothing goes your way. Do you turn bitter or better? Do you lose faith or deepen it? Do you let time break you, or do you let it build you? The answers to those questions determine the quality of your soul, because waiting isn't a test of time, it's a test of trust. You see, divine timing is never late. It's precise down to the smallest detail. Every event in your life is connected like threads in a tapestry. From your view, you only see the knots and tangles, but from above it forms a perfect design. What you think is a setback is often a setup, a redirection towards something greater. Sometimes the delay exists because your blessing is too big to arrive in pieces. It needs the right season, the right people, the right emotional maturity. You might not be able to handle the full beauty of it just yet. So the universe makes you wait, not to frustrate you, but to fortify you. And as you wait, your faith is stretched, your heart is trained, and your spirit learns to find peace in uncertainty. You begin to see that waiting isn't wasted time, it's sacred time. Growth is happening beneath the surface. Lessons are being planted that will one day bloom into wisdom. So the next time life slows down, don't panic. Don't assume you're being ignored. Tell yourself this instead. Something better is still preparing. Because when the timing is right, the doors that once refused to open will swing wide with ease. The people meant for you will find you effortlessly. The opportunities that once seemed impossible will appear naturally because now everything is in place. Delays aren't denials. They are divine pauses designed to align your life with something far more meaningful than what you had in mind. You just have to trust that the waiting isn't empty, it's building you quietly for the day when everything finally unfolds in its perfect time. The hardest moments in life are the ones that feel endless, those nights when you stare at the ceiling, eyes swollen from crying, asking yourself how much more you can take. You replay everything in your mind, wondering where you went wrong, wondering why things had to fall apart the way they did. The silence feels louder than your thoughts, and hope feels so far away that you almost stop reaching for it. It's in those moments, not the easy, bright, comfortable ones, that your faith is truly tested. Faith sounds beautiful when life is gentle. It's easy to trust when everything makes sense, when the path ahead is clear, and blessings arrive one after another. But when life turns dark, when prayers feel unanswered, when everything you love slips from your hands, that's when faith becomes real. That's when it's no longer just a word, it's a lifeline. The darkest hours are where your faith is stripped of comfort and tested for authenticity. It's where you find out if you truly trust or if you only believed when things were easy, because real faith doesn't shine in the light, it glows in the dark. When everything around you falls silent, your faith becomes your only voice. It tells you, keep going. It whispers, even this pain has purpose. It reminds you that your story doesn't end in the darkness, that the night is simply the womb of the dawn. There's a quiet kind of strength that grows in suffering, not the kind that shouts or fights, but the kind that endures. It's the strength of someone who keeps praying when there's no sign of change. Someone who keeps showing up, keeps doing good, keeps believing even when everything in them wants to quit. And that's what makes faith so sacred. It's not about pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's about saying, even in this pain, I trust there's meaning. You don't have to smile through every struggle. You just have to hold on long enough for the light to return. Sometimes, the darkest seasons are the ones that break everything false inside you, your pride, your illusions, your need for control. They humble you, they soften you, they bring you face to face with your own limits, and in that weakness you find real strength. You find peace that doesn't depend on circumstances and trust that doesn't depend on proof. The night teaches what the day can't. In the dark, you learn to listen differently. You begin to notice the small mercies, the quiet support, the unexpected kindness, the moments of calm between storms. You start to see that even in pain you're being carried. Faith doesn't mean you never feel lost. It means you keep walking even when you do. It means that even when your heart trembles, you still choose to believe that there's a sunrise waiting on the other side. And when the light finally returns, when the prayer you whispered through tears is finally answered, you realize that the darkness didn't destroy you, it shaped you. It taught you resilience, it deepened your trust. It turned your faith from something you said into something you live. The truth is, the darkest hours are not meant to break you, they're meant to rebuild you. They strip away everything temporary so you can cling to what's eternal. They remind you that peace doesn't come from what you hold in your hands, but from what you hold in your heart. And that's why some of the most faithful hearts are the ones that have been through the deepest pain. They don't just believe, they know. They know that no matter how long the night lasts, dawn always comes. They've seen too much grace in the darkness to ever doubt that light will return. So if you're walking through your own dark night right now, keep going. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to take the next step, even if it's through tears. You don't need to feel strong. You just need to stay soft enough to keep believing. Because it's in the darkest hours that faith stops being a choice and becomes your only way forward. It's when everything is stripped away that you finally discover what was holding you all along, a strength that doesn't come from you but flows through you. And when the morning finally breaks, you'll understand why the night had to be so long. You'll realize that it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. That in your weakest moments you were being rebuilt into someone unshakable. Someone whose faith doesn't depend on light to know that it still exists. There are moments in life when you're certain that nothing is happening, when your prayers echo back with no reply. Your efforts seem invisible, and every door you knock on stays shut. You try to stay positive, you tell yourself to trust the process, but deep inside, it feels like you've been forgotten. But here's the truth that your tired heart needs to hear. Miracles are being prepared behind the curtain. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. The unseen world is far more alive and active than you imagine. While you're sitting in silence, feeling stuck, things are shifting in ways you can't comprehend. Conversations are happening in rooms you've never entered. Hearts are being softened, paths are being aligned, opportunities are being shaped, all in perfect timing, just waiting for the right moment to meet you. The delay is not denial, it's divine choreography. You're not being ignored, you're being positioned. Every unanswered prayer, every disappointment, every closed door is quietly redirecting you toward what's meant for you. Think of it like a stage before the curtain rises. The audience sees darkness, but behind that curtain, there's movement, lights being fixed, sets being changed, actors preparing for the next scene. You don't hear the noise or see the work, but it's happening. Then suddenly the curtain opens and everything makes sense. What looked like stillness was actually preparation. That's what divine timing looks like. Your miracle isn't missing, it's maturing. Sometimes, if blessings came too soon, you wouldn't know how to hold them. They'd slip through your fingers because your heart wasn't ready yet. So the preparation happens not only around you, but within you. You're being shaped to receive what you've been praying for. While you wait, you learn trust, you learn patience, you learn that life isn't about forcing outcomes, but about flowing with faith. You stop trying to control what's behind the curtain and start preparing yourself for when it finally opens. And that's when the magic of trust begins, when you start believing that what's unseen is more powerful than what's visible. You begin to rest even when you don't have answers. You begin to smile even in uncertainty.